All right. So Janosch, you started, I believe, playing the piano, and then at around 16, you started playing drums. What changed for you? What made you go to the drums?
So yeah, I started with the piano when I was like 6 or 7, and yeah, my parents just asked if they thought it would be a nice idea to play an instrument, and then I think they decided that I got some piano lessons at the music school in my hometown back then. But my teacher, she was like, yeah, way much into classical stuff, and so then I quit it like 2 or 3 years later, or 4 years later, and yeah, today I told my parents, why didn't you push me to go ahead and to learn the piano? But yeah, I still have some skills are left, and that's, for me, it's still very useful to when it comes to songwriting and stuff like that. So, and harmonics, and that's, so I'm very happy that I started with the piano, because and nowadays I think it's a really nice instrument, of course. Sure. And yeah, then when I was like 11 years old, and then Iron Maiden became my favorite band, and still is my all-time favorite band, I think. And Nicko McBrain, he was such a big inspiration for me. And then I wanted to play the drums when I was like 15 or 16 years old. And yeah, so my parents, they were also, they still are very into music. And my father was a musician as well when he was younger. And so I had a drum set in my room, and I played like every day for at least 2 hours when I started. And yeah, I was really into drums, and that, and still, yeah, for me it's the best instrument when it comes to like energy. And so yeah, I'm really happy.
What did you see in Nicko's playing? Because whenever I see him play live, he has this huge drum kits, and then that kind of things everywhere. What was it for you that made him such a great drummer?
I think when it comes to technical skills, he's maybe not the best drummer in the world, but he has something that so many other drummers don't have. He has a unique style, you know. His playing is like, his almost playing like swing, and yeah, it's very unique. I think that's the main thing that really gets me. And I still think it's very important as a musician to have to go your own way. And nowadays, all the kids, they have this like YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. Sure. And so many of these YouTube drummers, they are amazing and unbelievable when it comes to technical skills. But on the other hand, I miss this unique thing. And yeah, Nicko, he gets it, definitely.
Well, for you then, kind of, you say you were around 11 that you started drumming. So kind of that whole progression to where you are now. Well, have you always tried to kind of find your own style or find new ways of doing things for yourself?
So when I was younger, like till 20 or something, I was straight into metal, like all kinds of metal, also like extreme versions like death and black metal. I was very much into black metal back in the days, and also death metal. A drummer who was also very important when I saw him the first time was Kevin Taylor. He used to play in Dying Fetus back in the days, and that was also like unbelievable power, no triggers, just yeah, he smashed the whole drum kit, and that was very inspiring. But in the last 15 years, I discovered so much more music, like jazz. There are some, on the other hand, there are some cool funk drummers, some jazz drummers, really good progressive drummers. Gavin Harrison from Porcupine Tree, for example, he's
Right.
also he's I think one of the best drummers alive, because he plays in a very progressive band, but there is no show off all the time. He's always always have the song in focus. So he has unbelievable technical skills, and you can hear that in every second when he's playing. But it's never to show off. He's just just to push the song, and so I discovered so many different styles, and I try to combine this different influences, and to always be open-minded to discover new things in music. I think that's very important.
So let's take the new upcoming album, Eraser, as an example then. Is your approach, as you mentioned, kind of what is best for the song? How can we make the song the best way? And for instance, obviously there's time signature changes, and there's all kinds of dynamics going on within one song. So how does the compositional side go from a drummer's perspective? How do you kind of write all these different pieces that eventually then fit together in a way?
Yeah, like you said, so for me, the song is always the main thing. So I always try to push the song forward and to play with the other guys. That's also very important, you know. It doesn't make sense if I have a very complicated fill-in or very complicated beat or time signature or something, and if the other guys say, "Oh, I don't get it, what are you playing there?" Then it doesn't make sense. You always have to, when a band plays together, and that's the best thing, I think. And for me, this album, the new album, it was in the studio. It was very tough because we had like many new ideas in the studio. So 90% of the material was carved in stone.
Okay.
But then we had like some new fill-ins and some complicated fill-ins and stuff like that. So I practiced a lot for this new record, because I think it's very dynamic. You have, like you said, many different time signatures, and so also some very proggy parts,
sure,
and hard to play. But on the other hand, I think it's very diverse, and that's why I love to play instrumental music, because you have so many opportunities.
Yeah, what I find interesting, your previous album, How Do We Want to Live, came out in 2020, which obviously we were dealing with a global pandemic, and you didn't get to really tour that album. So as you mentioned, you practiced a lot for this new album, and you spent a lot of time in the studio. Was that kind of the result of being at home as much, and then kind of having the time to do so, to kind of really delve into the intricate parts and stuff?
Definitely. So when you ask me, is there something positive that you experienced in the last 2 years, then I have to say definitely that I've really I played a lot of drums. And the funny thing is, so many people asked me, "Oh, did you thought about to quit music and to get a proper job and stuff like that?" And for me, it sounds stupid, but it was the opposite. So I was so much into music. I rediscovered so much music from my early days. Like,
sure,
I bought some nice vinyl reissues of like 90s black and death metal and stuff like that. So on the other hand, I discovered new music. So that's, for me, it was that was the good part of this whole pandemic situation.
Right. And then as a band, the four of you trying to, because you just wrote an album, and then which you couldn't really tour, and then instead you decided, well, we might as well just continue writing then, I suppose. So what was that? Where do those albums feel very separate, or do they kind of bleed into each other a little bit?
I think when you write a new album, you always react to the last one.
Okay.
So the last one was very electronic. We used a lot of synthesizers and stuff like that, and it was very atmospheric and So, and for the new album, it was totally different because the whole background with the animals. So every song is dedicated to an endangered animal, and the list of the animals, we had them before we started the songwriting. So we tried to write the soundtrack for every animal, and when you have an animal like a gorilla or rhino or a big shark or a tiger, it makes sense somehow that you have like more heavy parts and stuff like that, because they're huge and powerful animals. And the gorilla, for example, is a very complex animal which is very close to us humans. And we tried to write the soundtrack for them, and that was a big challenge, but also very big fun. So that was the first time we had this whole background first, and then write the soundtrack for these songs.
How did this concept come up? This idea of these species going extinct? What kind of drew the band towards? Hey, let's write an album about these animals going extinct.
It's maybe not the most interesting story, but I saw 2 documentaries on TV. The first documentary was about the Greenland shark, and that was so impressive because it's a huge animal. It's he can be like, I think 500. He can get 500 years old, and that's why the song on the record is called 500 years. And that was the first initial idea for this whole background for the new record. And then I talked to Jan, our bass player, and to Greenpeace, because we had some things going on with Greenpeace at that moment. And they also told us, that's a very nice idea. We want to support you. We want to get you some more information about the animals and stuff like that. Okay. And then on the other hand, I saw a documentary about this black box. Some scientists want to put on, I think, Tasmania. And it's the black box for the Earth. So they collect in a big computer, they collect data, like weather data, climate change, social media data, and that's a black box for the Earth. And if we fuck it up like big time, and there's no human being or no living creature on this Earth, so maybe someone will find it someday, and they can see, okay, they fucked it up, and that's the reason. And this 2 like documentaries, that was the starting point for this whole thing. Right.
And then, I mean, well, maybe this is too philosophical a question, but there is some, obviously you use those Greenpeace footage things in the clip for Eraser, I think, and you can see the destruction of nature and all that stuff. So, and there is a sense of urgency in the music, the way the drumming is going, the fast beats and the kind of the rhythm. Yes. So are you optimistic in a way of us being able to kind of turn things around, or are we kind of at the mercy of these huge corporations that are going to do whatever they want?
I'm not a very optimistic person in the first place, but I think it's time to turn back time, because when you see the video for Eraser, and then the last scene you see is the guy with the
with the noose,
with the noose, and then the video that is rewinds, and so I think it's time to turn back time, because it's 5 after 12, 5 past 12, and for us it's just this whole like thing with climate change and stuff like that. I think that's so unbelievable important, and also yeah, so you have like things like the pandemic, the war in Ukraine at the moment, and nobody thinks about this climate thing. And I think that's the most challenging thing for us humans in the like next 50 years.
Sure.
And yeah, we just thought it's maybe good to talk about it. So we definitely know that we as a band are also part of the problem, because we are traveling, we are
Sure.
we're playing shows and stuff like that. So but yeah, I think everybody can do like little things, you know, and that's very, very important for us, for everybody, and also for, of course, for the animals, because
Sure.
you know, especially like the tiger, the gorilla, and they don't have any place to live anymore. That's the main, because we use their forests to get some palm oil and stuff like
Right.
that. So, that it's a big problem. So, and
Sure.
everybody can change like some small things, and I think that's the starting point.
The way kind of Eraser and ends with that news, what you mentioned, do you think? Well, no. What I find interesting, you have that video, which is very kind of, I don't want to say graphic, but it's kind of in your face with the footage, and then the other ones are really impressive as well, with the animation and the way the visuals kind of convey this story. So when did this animation or this visual side come into this album? Did you already have kind of images in your mind when you started thinking of this concept?
Yes, definitely. So we had a chat with all the guys. So the first two videos, they are done by Costin. What's his last name? I forgot it, but he did a lot of stuff for many like big metal bands and progressive bands and stuff like that. So, and he's such a great artist. And
it's beautiful, those videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a chat with him, so we had some thoughts about the storyline and stuff like that, and he also had some thoughts, and yeah, that matched just perfectly. So, and we are really happy with the result. So the first two videos are also not like very optimistic, I think, because when you look carefully, that's also not like ooh, party and stuff like that. But when it's like just a comic video or animated video, I think people think it's not that drastic and drastical stuff like that. But of course, the Eraser video is like very much in your face, and
right. No, I find it interesting because I went through the track list and started. This is maybe what you want to achieve with an album like this, but I started looking up what is facing, for instance, the sloth. I was Googling the sloth a half an hour ago to figure out, okay, how are they being extinct? Because what's going on? I didn't even know they were going extinct. So is that kind of what you want to achieve with this album, that you get people to think and to look at these animals and the things that we're facing, deforestation, overfishing, there's so many difficulties kind of. So do you want people to think, to get them to think?
Always.
Okay.
I think that's the best thing. So if you start to think, and when you're going to supermarket, to restaurants, stuff like that, and I think it's always important to think about behaviors, and also for me.
Sure.
It's the same for me. It's the same for us as a band, because like I told you, we are definitely part of the problem. So it's not like that we walk around with hey, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, that's not our intention. It's just to maybe some people will think about it and will get some more information about the animals, about stuff like you said, like overfishing and burning down the forests and stuff like that. So I'm really, I love it to be in the nature. That's the most relaxing and beautiful thing. So go to the mountains, go to the forests and stuff like that. And I think it's worth fighting for. So it sounds cheesy, but definitely it's, we have so many beautiful places on this planet. And I think the whole nature, it's definitely worth fighting for. And it's not about the next Ferrari, the next nice car, and the next new iPhone or stuff like that. I think that's just a very short period of happiness, you know. And I think when I also have a dog, and I love animals, and when I go out with him, and that's the best thing, I think, you know.
Final question then, from all of the songs that ended up on Eraser, which one gave you the most trouble or was most challenging from a drummer's standpoint? Especially now that you're looking, I suppose, to play a lot of those songs live.
Depends on, but the Eraser, the title track, is then there is a very tricky part in the song for the bee, Blood Honey, and also the Gorilla, the song Camila. That's also like challenging, but So I will figure it out, and I definitely have to practice a lot when we start to play the new songs live. But that will be next year. So because of the whole COVID situation, we thought about we thought that the tour for the new record, it will be much safer to play the shows in February, March next year.
Sure.
Because you never know. The last time we had to postpone our tour for How Do You Want to Live 4 times. And hopefully this time March will be safer, and then we will tour like all over Europe. So finally again, we are playing, of course we play many shows in Germany, but also in whole Europe. We play Holland, UK, France, Belgium, so Poland, and so
Sure. Well, can't wait to have you back on tour. One last question then. What did you miss most of performing live?
The energy. I think getting back the energy from the audience, that's the best, you know. You have a good time together and you feel the energy from the people, they feel our energy, and so that's of course the best. So I'm not that guy that, if you ask a musician, I think 9 out of 10 would tell you, I will definitely prefer playing live instead of being in the studio. For me, it's like 50-50.
Okay.
I love it to be in the studio, to writing songs, and then finally get the first mix, get the first master, and so that's a very, 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 very nice thing. But of course, on the other hand, this energy you feel when you play live, that's part of the game. And of course, we missed it a lot. But hopefully, we will see what's going on in the next 2 years. It's hard at the moment. I think for everyone in the whole music scene, it's very challenging at the moment, because you still feel this whole COVID thing, you know. The ticket sales are very, very low all over the place.
Sure.
And of course, you have some big names like Rammstein or Iron Maiden and stuff like that you see like 50, 60, 70,000 people. But that's, you know, most of the band, when you like sold in 2019, you sold maybe 1,000 tickets. When you now go on tour, you have like 300. So that's a big problem. And what I can say is just that people, please buy tickets, go to support the artists, and because it's very challenging for them at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice, because it would be very boring if only kind of those really big bands can continue to survive, while kind of everything in the middle would struggle so much.
That's the point, exactly, because yeah, I love it to be at small places and
Right.
packed venues and stuff like small clubs. I think that's a way more intense experience instead of like, yeah, being in a stadium with 80,000 people and there's like this small Bruce Dickinson somewhere. Of course, I saw like Maiden so many times, and I'm still very big fan. But yeah.
No, I agree. I went to see them in kind of this arena here in the Netherlands, and it's different. It's still a cool show, obviously, but it's different if you're in a venue where it's maybe max 1,000 people or something. There's a different energy. There's a different connection you have with the people on stage. So
definitely.
All right, Janosch, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. And yeah, wish you all the best with the album, and can't wait to see you come over here to the Netherlands then in the next year.
Definitely. So thank you very much for having me.